Welcome to this week's Terrace Bay Council meeting. Council approved an increase to the Doctor Recruitment Fund to help attract new physicians to the community. There was also good news on the economic front, with funding announced for a new economic development officer and upgrades to the local arena. And finally, Council heard disappointing news as Trestle Ridge Ski Hill confirmed it will remain closed for the 2026 season due to major lift repairs. Now here's tonight's agenda.
On Monday, March 2nd, I call this meeting of the Council of the Township of Terrace Bay to order. Declaration, the Council of the Township of Terrace Bay hereby acknowledges that we are in the Robinson Superior Treaty Territory, and the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Nishnawbe and the Métis. Any additions, deletions, or amendments? Hearing none, we have motion moved by Councilor St. Louis, seconded by Councilor Duno, resolved that Council approve the agenda for the regular council meeting held March 2nd, 2026 as amended. 6 days going to be Marley McGrath, student council report. Council, all in favor? Carried.
John, just on your worship, that will be a regular agenda item going forward, just to make the rest of council aware. So.
Any disclosures of interest? Hearing none, adoption of minutes. We have a motion moved by Councilor Duno, seconded by Councilor St. Louis, resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting held February 17th, 2026 be approved as presented. All in favor? Carried. Presentations, delegations, deputations, reports from
the one with the initial, sorry. Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, first, I'll start with some of our high school updates. So, on Wednesday the 25th, we celebrated Pink Shirt Day, to stand up against bullying and promote kindness. So our student council had a table set up at lunch, where we gave students the opportunity to write kindness cards for their friends and family, and we have some of those posted in one of our hallways. We even had a local police officer come and help us at a table. Our school also helped to support the Smile Cookie fundraiser that was organized by Breeze Bakery and catering. Enough cookies were ordered for all the students and staff in the school, and all the money that was raised went to Ronald McDonald House Canada. So for our sports, as I mentioned at the last meeting, our junior and senior boys both went to Chapleau on the 18th to compete for the NSSAA banners. So they both won each of their banners and came back with a lot of gold medals. They went through the whole tournament undefeated. And last week, the senior boys were sent to Red Lake to play for another banner and a spotted OFSA, which is the all like Ontario-wide. Unfortunately, they weren't able to beat Red Lake's team, but they put up a really good fight and they made our school proud. So the NSSAA curling finals were held in Long Lac on the 22nd and 23rd of February. Our girls team placed second, and after a tough game that came down to the very last shot. And then our boys team had a great tournament, placing first and taking home another banner for our school. So both teams placed in the top two and advanced to the NWASA tournament in Fort Frances, which happened this weekend. I'm not sure quite yet how they did, but I think it ended today. So they'll be coming back soon. And then just some community youth updates. So this past weekend, a few of our hockey playing students participated in the zone's under 15 and under 18 single A championship tournament in Scriber. And then this weekend, our figure skaters are headed up to Thunder Bay for our last skating competition of the year before we get ready for ice show. And then last, I just wanted to mention so this year the Trestle Ridge Ski Hill was supposed to be open, and I'm aware of 6 high school students who had applied and were going to work there for the season. However, with the ski hole closing due to mechanical issues with the lift, those students were very disappointed to hear that they wouldn't get to have a job there this year. And then I've also heard many disappointing comments from students and other townspeople that were excited for the hill to be running this year. And yeah, that's all I have to say, but to mention that last point.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions? No, good. Okay, thanks, Marlon. Please, Marlon. Hey, John, no, you all do the first one there, Dr. Recruiter request. We had a request from Doc Adam Brown. They want to increase their doctor recruitment fund, I guess, from $25,000 to $35,000. And they are asking us to, all the participants, I guess, the Stokes Medical Center, Oxford Medical Center, Scriber, Terrace Bay, and NOSH, to increase their amounts to go from $25,000 to $35,000. Right now, Stokes is 5,000. August is 5, Terrace Bay is 2,500. Scriber is, I believe they rated theirs for $5,000 at their last council meeting. And NOSH is $10,000. So it's, what do you guys want to increase ours or leave the same?
I think we need to. I think we should probably match Scriber, go to 5.
Yeah.
Doctors are always a hard thing to get right now, right?
Yeah. There's with the shortage we can do to attract people here, we've got a great place to live, so we just got to show it off to them. That's what it takes. Did Adam happen to say what there's no guarantees, but
No,
is there any sort of mechanism to prove that spending more is getting the result we want? Like,
and there's nothing in the email.
okay.
So do you know who actually recruits for Terrace Bay Scribe? Is it Brett Redden? No.
It's Brandon Pope.
Okay.
Bill?
How does that impact us with respect to budget? Does it?
Would I go under donation, John, under the?
I mean, you just add it to your budget for the year, for
1/6?
Yeah, 26, if you could go from potentially 2,500 to say 5,000, so you're just gonna add that to your budget, make sure it's in there. And with respect to 1%, it's about $38,000, so it would be a point something percent.
26,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Marley? Any comment?
Oh. Not really, no.
Yes, no. So we're good with doubling it, is what I'm hearing?
I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking in my head if you wanted to just further it during our budget deliberations, but whether it's now or tomorrow, I guess it doesn't matter, so yeah. Throw it in the budget tomorrow.
Okay, John, the zone bylaw amendment for Hydro Bay subdivision.
Hey, your worship. So just for background, on August 2nd, 2022, Council of the Township of Terrace Bay approved the official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment and conditions of draft approval for the Hydro Bay subdivision. So this is Hydro Bay Center, not west or east, that already exist. So this is a new subdivision. Since that time, administration and JL Richards, JLR for short, the township's planning consultant, and we're working with the proponent's representatives from Evergreen Technical Consulting and Cortec Consulting to get the conditions completed. So in our current discussion, as stated in the memo from JLR, which is attached, it was identified that permission for developing on a lot with frontage on a private road was inadvertently omitted from the initial zoning bylaw amendment. So therefore, we have to pass this essentially a housekeeping amendment to make sure that when the subdivision application is complete and it is registered, people buying lots can actually have a frontage on a private road as opposed to a public road, which is what it says now, so. As such, this amendment will address this issue and be consistent with previous decisions to approve the subdivision on the basis of access and frontage on a private road. JLR concludes with the recommendation that council approve the proposed zoning bylaw amendment, to permit residential lots within the approved Hydro Bay Cottage subdivision to have frontage on a private road. As the amendment is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to the Township of Terrace Bay official plan, and represents overall good planning. Administration concurs with the recommendations put forward by JLR. So financial implications none at this time. The options are that council accept the recommendations of administration and JL Richards to amend the zoning bylaw in reference to the ongoing Hydro Bay subdivision application and the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. Option 2 is that council not accept the recommendation of JLR and directs administration otherwise. Administration is recommending option 1.
Now we'll go to recess.
The next one to you. So now there'd be a public meeting for anybody who's here to comment on this application. So there's a resolution there saying recess.
Yeah. We have a motion moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Duno, resolve that council agrees to a recess to a public meeting regarding a zoning bylaw regarding the amendment to Hydro Bay subdivision. All in favor? Carried.
So as to the public meeting, is there anybody here who wishes to comment on this application?
No.
No.
Oh.
And if there's anybody online, please indicate so in the chat. Anybody here to comment on the application? Councillor, or former councillor, sorry.
Yeah.
Does council have any comments?
No.
I'll say online going once. Going twice. Third and final call for any comment with respect to the public meeting to the zoning bylaw amendment that's on the agenda. We don't believe there's any comments online, Your Worship, so we can go back into.
We have a motion moved by Councillor Duno, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolve that council, the regular council meeting for March 2nd, 2026 now resumes. All in favor? Carried. And Ryan, you're up with the service line warrant.
Finish.
Oh, okay, sorry. We have a motion moved by Councillor St. Louis, second by Councillor Duno, resolve that council accept the recommendations of administration and JLR Richards to amend the zoning bylaw in reference to the ongoing hydro-based subdivision application. That appropriate bylaw be brought forward. All in favor? Carried. Now you're right.
Thank you. As everybody saw, my report's pretty lengthy, so I've summarized it a little bit here. But we did have that presentation from Elise at a previous meeting. So the Terrace Bay water and wastewater system currently supplies approximately 789 residential service connections. Residential property owners are responsible for the maintenance of the buried services, water and sewer that run from the property line to the exterior of the home. When these lines break, leak, or become obstructed, the homeowner is often surprised to learn that it is not a municipal responsibility. Most home insurance policies will not cover the expense of repairs. Currently, if a resident has an issue with water or wastewater service, they typically contact Public Works. Service Line Warranty of Canada, SLWC, has been endorsed as a vendor of choice by the Local Authority Service, LAS, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario. SLWC is currently partnered with over 80 municipalities. The services include water service lines, sewer laterals, and even internal home plumbing and drainage repair and replacement services. With the SLWC model, work is always performed by licensed contractors, local where available, to ensure timely response and adherence to local code requirements. For a fixed monthly fee, the warranty provider, SLWC, will perform any repairs required to the private buried infrastructure. This program is designed and currently offered in residential properties tied to municipal water and wastewater systems, as well as to residential properties on private systems, wells, cistern, or septic. So to participate in the program, municipal endorsement of the program model is required. The endorsement allows SLWC to credibly market the program to residential property owners. There is no direct participation cost to the municipality. The program allows for the municipality to receive a nominal fee from SLWC in exchange for its endorsement of the service and to compensate for any staff time which may be spent. Contractual agreement is required between Terrace Bay and SLWC. The contractual agreement permits SLWC to present the warranty services being offered utilizing the township's name, logo, and residential contact information. SLWC purchases this list from the third party, and the township is not asked to provide any resident data outside of confirming postal codes. Terrace Bay homeowners are under no obligation to participate in the SLWC program. However, they are encouraged to check their own owner policy and find out what coverage they currently have. So financial implications, while there's no cost associated with the implementation or operation of the program to the township, there is a royalty paid to the township annually. The royalty consists of 5% of the revenue collected from residential property owners enrolled in the program and is intended to compensate the township for any staff resources taken to get the program up and running. Alternatively, this 5% can be passed along in savings to residents who have signed up for the warranty program, reducing their monthly cost by roughly 50 cents. Three options before you this evening. The council approve entering into an agreement with Service Line Warranty of Canada to offer the water and sewer warranty program to Terrace Bay residents, and that a bylaw to enter into the agreement with Service Line Warranty of Canada is to be brought forward. Option 2, that council approve entering into an agreement with Service Line Warranties of Canada to offer the water sewer warranty program to Terrace Bay residents and pass royalty savings onto residents. And that a bylaw be, and a bylaw to enter into the agreement. And option 3, the council does not approve entering into an agreement with Service Line Warranties of Canada to offer the water and sewer warranty program to Terrace Bay residents and directs administration otherwise. The recommendation is option 1.
I have a question for you, Ronald McGrath. So this covers your water and your sewer line.
Yes.
So when they dig up your water sewer line and fill it back in, they're not responsible to replant your grass, to repave your driveway and stuff like that, correct? It's just
I mean, that would be the whole job, but there is a limit on the policy, right? And I mean, a paved driveway probably is gonna be a cost of asphalt, but I mean, you would get a whole job.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
So just on the average, just in that same vein, what would the whole job consist of, or do we know that, or is there further information coming from this company?
The cap on the sewer line is 8,000 for instance, cap on water line is 5,000, and in-home plumbing is 5,000. But they're all separate policies, they pay for it separately.
Okay.
So I think those numbers are close to in line. One thing I can say is when they redid Canogamy, it was about 5,000 to get all 3 done for residents, but they were here.
Okay, yeah.
So consider mold, demold, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think those numbers are fairly in line. If they're light, they're not light by much. So,
Because I thought she said they might have to adjust it, and someone has come from Thunder.
and I think they would do some more research into that to see, obviously it's gonna affect the premium, but they will definitely, if we enter into the agreement, they're gonna look for contractors, get prices and.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, we had a motion moved by Councilor Duno, second by Councilor St. Louis. Resolve that council approve entering into an agreement with Service Line Warranties of Canada to offer the water and sewer warranty program to Terrace Bay residents, and that a bylaw to enter into the agreement with Service Line Warranties of Canada be brought forward. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. Katie, you're up. Ski Hill closure.
Councilors, yeah. This report is for information only. The following is to advise council that Trestle Ridge Ski Hill will be closed for 2026 season due to a major mechanical failure and the machinery of the ski hill and ski lift. So regular maintenance, lift inspection, and TSSA clearance were conducted at Trestle Ridge prior to the season start. Maintenance such as an oil change and other repairs were completed, and the lift started off pretty well. In fact, we hired students and we were sort of good to go. Unfortunately, early in the season, P. Shermack noticed that a noise at the top of the lift that he was concerned could become catastrophic. Working with Public Works, P. Shermack worked quickly to have the lift looked at, and it was determined that the bearing in the full wheel needed replacement. Unfortunately, this apparatus needs to be taken down with a lift, and the work will need to be done when the snow is gone. Any work on the ski hill lift requires a licensed lift mechanic and will need to be scheduled in the spring as well. This bearing is suspected to have been replaced in 1995 last and was well past its lifespan. This is a disappointing outcome for the ski hill. However, plans to return a lift to operational status are being explored, and any required repairs will have to take place in the spring and summer of 2026. So, financial implications, the cost of the bearing, labor, and other equipment has yet to be determined. The ski hill has its own operating budget, and they have discussed with administration covering some or all of the costs for the repairs. Costs will be brought to council when an estimate for repairs has been established. So some future considerations, we've talked about training a local lift mechanic so that we can do these repairs right on site. And we've talked about, kind of cut it off, exploring more funding sources and other interested parties like Superior Country to support consistent management and planning in 2027 season. And just being a little bit more proactive early in the season to kind of come up with a schedule around how we mobilize the ski hub. a really unfortunate outcome, but I think one that was not in anyone's control. When they do the inspections, you know, it looked like the lift was good to go. Unfortunately, that bearing just had its day. So
Questions?
No.
Gary?
Yeah, so we were open for just one weekend this year.
not gonna take it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know we asked last time, they said no about getting some of our insurance money back. It's probably not worth asking again, but.
We did get some of our.
Oh, we did? Oh, they're not.
So who are we getting to look at the, to repair?
So I've contacted Brad Law, who is from Manitowash, just to see what his availability is. He runs the scale in Manitowash and he's a licensed lift mechanic. I haven't heard back from him yet, just to see what his availability would be. There's a couple of guys in Thunder Bay. There's also like, we can go straight to the lift company as well, called Pomo Lifts, and have them come and do the work. So the bearing, and you know, may not be particularly expensive. It might be like having a lift and having, you know, the mechanics come out and do that work. You know, we could have somewhere between, you know, $8,000 and $20,000 for estimating in terms of repairing it. So
I guess I'm not familiar with it. So is that the only mechanical part on the lift is if we get someone shouldn't be looking at all the other stuff?
well, I'm Ryan, will you be able to add to this? Yeah.
So, the guy we have looked at it, that he's gonna get us a quote, is, asked him to look at everything that could possibly go wrong with this thing. And, the bearings on the bottom are gone, bearings on the top are gonna be gone.
Yeah.
There's probably a bearing gone in the gearbox, it's pretty significant.
Just to give some context too, we've had a similar issue this year, with the bearing going in their whole wheel as well, and it shut down the one side of the woman for numerous months. And again, same inspection process that they would have gone through, it's something that can get missed. So,
You just went down again, actually.
did it? Yeah.
Any other questions? Thanks, Stevie. We have a motion moved by Councilor St. Louis, second by Councilor Noonan. Resolved that council accept this report as information only. All in favor? Carried. Next one is for the Economic Development Officer.
Yeah, so some more positive news. The Township of Terrace Bay's 2025 to 2029 strategic plan highlighted a need for an economic development as shown in goal 3, resilient and diversified economy. The focus of this goal is to progressively support our local businesses while leveraging Terrace Bay's unique advantages to attract new professionals and businesses. It was thought that a dedicated economic development officer could focus on the priorities and actions of goal 3 in the strategic plan. These priorities have been difficult to focus on in the absence of a dedicated EDO, and even more imperative in light of Terrace Bay's changing economic reality. Supported by the 2025 to 2029 strategic plan, the community development manager applied through FedNor for an economic development officer dedicated to the township of Terrace Bay around December 2025. So Terrace Bay was awarded FedNor funding for an economic development officer last week in the amount of $270,000 to be used over 3 years. So that's $300,000 at 90%, where we would pay 10%. In order to receive these funds, the township must enter into a contribution agreement with FedNor. Following execution of the agreement and the passage of the 2026 budget, administration will build the job description with a focus on the relevant economic development goals highlighted in our strategic plan and begin recruitment. So financial implications, the FedNor funding is $270,000, as I mentioned, for 3 years. FedNor will cover 90% of this position, with the township of Terrace Bay covering the remaining 10. So again, it's actually 300 with 270 from FedNor. So options, that the council approve entering into a contribution agreement with project 90683 with FedNor for funding towards creating a development officer. And then option 2 is for administration to advise otherwise.
Any questions?
The job descriptions require them to have the lift mechanic.
How long did you do up the job description?
The way that I wrote the grant actually took out of, so you can look yourselves at the strategic plan in that goal 3. There's tons of content there that we can pull from in terms of developing a job description around what an economic development officer might do for us. And then hopefully if we pass this, we can talk this week about what specifically that economic development officer might do for our township in terms of things that we feel like are kind of falling through the cracks a little bit. So hopefully we can get that advertisement out maybe even next week.
Okay, any other questions?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, we have a motion moved by Councillor Duno, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolve the council approve entering into a contribution agreement, project number 900683 with Fed North for funding towards creating an economic development officer position and at the appropriate bylaw you brought forward. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the next one is about the arena dehumidifier project.
So this is going to seem a little bit repetitive because we've talked about this before. However, NOHSC is looking for a specific resolution around this project. So I wanted to write something up that would satisfy that one really close to the end details of this project. Background information: on November 17th, the community development manager brought forward an information-only discussion about 2 projects that had been submitted to NOHSC for approval. NOHSC had indicated in writing that there were currently too many project lines open, and the township of Terrace Bay needed to decide on whether the arena flooring project or the arena dehumidifier project were of more urgency. Information was left to council to consider, and a second update was brought forward to council on December 1st, recommending the arena dehumidifier project as a priority. The council approved this direction and passed the motion. So the current discussion, in the interim, the community development manager has been finalizing the details of this project with Dynamical Engineering, Burke Mechanical, and NOHSC. The community development manager was advised to hold off on the January 2026 submission to the NOHSC board and submit the final grant application this March, this month. NOHSC has requested a final documentation, a resolution from council that states the Township of Terrace Bay supports the NOHSC application regarding a project 7510271 arena dehumidifier and LED lighting replacement, and can enter into the agreement with NOHSC regarding the project. That's so the arena dehumidifier and LED lighting. So the Township of Terrace Bay, by doing this, agrees to commit their 25% contribution, which is $66,400, which NOHSC will cover 75% of the cost at $348,000, making the total project cost at $464,000. So the options: the Township of Terrace Bay supports the NOHSC application regarding the project 7500271 arena dehumidifier and LED lighting replacement, and can enter into the agreement with NOHSC regarding the project. And that the Township of Terrace Bay will commit their 25% cash contribution of $66,400, which NOHSC will cover 75% of the cost at $348,000, making for a total project cost of $464,000. And that the Township of Terrace Bay will commit to cover any project-related cost overruns should they occur, and have dedicated these funds from their capital budget fund for 2026. And then option number 2 is that council not approve the required resolution of support and direct administration otherwise.
Questions? No. This isn't just for when the ice is in. I don't know if anyone's been in the arena in the summertime.
It's hot and
pretty
muggy.
humid. There's.
I can tell you a little bit of what's happened. So we were moving forward with the dehumidifiers in the curling club. At one point, these projects were really interlaced. It looked like the funding was going to kind of come from Ontario Trillium Fund and from NHFC. Now we've separated them a bit, and we've worked really closely with Dynaco to kind of hone in on what type of dehumidifier we want. So originally we had looked at, do we want a desiccant type? Do we want a mechanical type? So it looks like we're going to go mechanical in the curling club, which is sort of an easier sort of in and out fix with a new harness. And then in the arena, they have decided that the best fit for us is a desiccant type. So that's where these costs are a little bit adjusted in terms of what I brought forward originally, but we definitely have a better plan now.
Any other questions?
Is my math wrong? It's 66,400 and 348,000. I'm getting 414.40. Where am I making a mistake?
You know what? It's you know what? I'm not sure. I could have pulled the wrong numbers there. There's the LED lighting as well.
Oh, okay, perfect. That's about just that looks like that would be 50.
About, I think it's about 38,000.
Yeah.
I may have pulled the wrong number there.
Okay, that would okay. Thank
I
you.
think the original cost was closer to like 540.
Yeah.
So we have come down a little bit in cost. So
Okay.
which we'll talk about in budget as well.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay, we have a motion moved by Councilor St. Louis, seconded by Councilor Duno, resolve that council support the NOHSC application regarding project 7510271 Arena dehumidifier LED lighting replacement and can enter into the agreement with the NOHSC regarding the project 7510271 Arena dehumidifier and LED lighting replacement, and that the township of Terrace Bay will commit their 25% cash contribution of $66,400, which NOHSC will cover 75% of the cost at $348,000, making for a total project cost of $364,000. And that the township of Terrace Bay will commit to covering any project-related cost overruns should they occur. All in favor? Okay, carried, Johnny.
Just a comment, we'll correct the numbers and make sure the corrected resolution gets up to council before we send it to just
Thank you.
as long as all council is okay with approving moving forward with the project.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
We can correct that and fix it.
Thank you.
Hey, Stacey, you're up for the Rural Ontario Development Funding.
Thank you, Council. So following an application submission by administration last year, the province of Ontario have approved funding towards the development of a community improvement plan under the Rural Ontario Development Program Community Development Stream. A community improvement plan would be a strategic document developed to guide ongoing downtown revitalization, support business development, and enhance community sustainability. Building on the township's 2011 downtown revitalization project of Simcoe Plaza, this initiative focuses on maintaining and strengthening existing improvements while attracting new businesses, investment, and tourism. The project is aligned with the township's 2025-2029 strategic plan, goal-free, resilient, and diversified economy, and complements the Terrace Bay 5-year tourism marketing plan, which prioritizes downtown attractiveness, visitor amenities, and promotion of local businesses. So to summarize some of the key activities, there would be conducting a community and stakeholder consultations, completing an environmental scan of the downtown and surrounding commercial areas, developing actionable recommendations to support business growth and revitalization, creating guidance and implementation strategies to maintain and enhance public spaces, establishing metrics to monitor progress, assess outcomes, and support long-term planning. So the Ministry of Rural Affairs, through the ROC program, has committed up to $8,750, so 50% funding towards eligible project costs. The township will contribute the remaining share of the project budget and will be responsible for any additional or ineligible costs that arise throughout the project. The project is expected to be completed by December 2026. So for current discussions, before we can begin the project and to receive funding, the township must enter into a contribution agreement with His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario as represented by the Minister of Rural Affairs. Administration has received the contribution agreement from the province and is presenting it to council for passage via bylaw. The document is attached and outlines the project's funding parameters and timelines. So for financial implications, the township of Terrace Bay will be responsible for the difference of the project's total costs. Administration has identified $11,750 to be budgeted and approved for the remainder of the estimated project costs. As you noticed, that would be more than 50%. Originally, we had asked for, I believe, about 1,000 or 1,500 more, but they had shorted it a little bit, so I just included it in our portion, just to make sure that we don't lose out on costs. And so we have two options before you. So option A, that council accept the funding under the Rural Ontario Development Fund, Community Development Stream, and enter into a contribution agreement with His Majesty the King and Right of Ontario as represented by the Ministry of Rural Affairs, and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. Or B, that council does not approve and directs administration otherwise. Our recommendation is option A, that council accepts the funding.
Questions, anyone? Comments?
No, this is a good thing, this because we need to look at our downtown as needs.
We gotta get rid of the weeds on the lawn.
Yeah, we have, I mean, I think we need to upgrade, I think everybody feels that way, so this is a good step. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a good step.
Yeah.
Like I say, the grass is gonna look a lot better.
We're gonna do some work down there.
Any other questions or comments?
It'll go hand in hand with the economic development.
I literally think it's
Yeah.
up there.
I think it's
It's great
great.
timing.
Thanks, Stacy.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. We have a motion moved by Councillor Duno, second by Councillor St. Louis, resolve that council accept funding under the Rural Ontario Development Fund, Community Development Stream, and enter into a contribution agreement with His Majesty the King in Wright, Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Rural Affairs, and that the appropriate bylaw be brought forward. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bylaws. First bylaw, we have a motion moved by Councillor Webb, second by Councillor Dubé, resolved that a bylaw to amend bylaw 10-2016, the zoning bylaw in respect to facilitating the development of buildings and structures on lots fronting the private road within the registered plan of subdivision at Hydro Bay be read first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on the second day of March 2026. All in favor? Carried. Next bylaw, we have a motion moved by Councillor Dubé, second by Councillor Webb. Resolved that a bylaw to authorize the township to enter into an agreement with Service Line Warranties of Canada to offer the water and sewer warranty program to Terrace Bay residents be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on the second day of March 2026. All in favor? Carried. And next one, moved by Councillor Webb, second by Councillor Dubé, resolved that a bylaw to enter into contribution agreement project 900683 with FedNor for funding towards creating an economic development officer position be read first, second, and third time and finally passed, sealed and numbered the second day of March 2026. All in favor? Carried. Question period, John. Mike, you have any questions?
Online, if there's any questions, first call.
Sorry, one more bylaw. One more bylaw.
Yeah, we got one more.
Put the call on early, that's all.
Okay, we have a motion moved by Councillor Dubé, second by Councillor Webb, resolved that a bylaw to accept funding under the Rural Ontario Development Fund Community Development Stream and enter into a contribution agreement with His Majesty the King in Wright of Ontario, as represented by the Minister of Rural Affairs. He read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed and numbered on the second day of March 2026. All in favor? Carried. No.
I think you might have
a question, actually. Nope.
No?
No.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Second call online. And third and final call online. Any questions online, your worship?
Next, we're going in camera now. We have a motion moved by Councillor Webb, second by Councillor Dubé. Resolve the council move the next portion of this meeting in camera at 19:07 to discuss the minutes of the previous in-camera session held December 1st, 2025. One matter concerning position plan procedure criteria or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board regarding SGESV capital funding requests. And second one matter concerning the position plan procedure criteria or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board regarding mill utility building. And that council now recess for 5 minutes. All in favor? Carried.